The salvage ship homebound moved slowly through the asteroid belt. It was an old ship, patched and repaired many times. But it still worked, and that was enough for Captain Park Tai-ho. Tai-ho sat in his command chair, watching the darkness through the main window. Stars filled the black sky like scattered diamonds. Rocks floated past, some small, some as big as mountains. The ship's sensors searched for anything valuable: metal, old technology, abandoned cargo. Anything they could sell. It was boring work. Most days, they found nothing. But Tai-ho was patient. He had learned patience in his 42 years of life. Good things came to those who waited. His navigator, Hana, sat at her station. She was young, only 28, with sharp eyes and quick fingers. She watched the sensor screens with the focus of a hunter. Behind her, engineer Kim Do-yeon checked his systems for the 100th time that day. He was a thin man with oil-stained hands and a mind that never stopped thinking about machines. Security officer Choi Myra stood near the door. She was tall and strong, with a scar on her left cheek from a fight she never talked about. Her job was to protect the crew. She took that job very seriously. The hours passed slowly. Tai-ho was starting to fall asleep when Hana made a small sound. It was not a word, just a sharp breath that made everyone look at her. "Captain," she said. Her voice was strange. "You need to see this." Tai-ho walked to her station. On the screen, hidden behind a massive asteroid, was something that did not belong. It was a ship, but not like any ship Tai-ho had ever seen. It was huge, at least 3 kilometers long. The hull curved in strange organic shapes, like the shell of some giant sea creature. The metal was silver and deep violet, colors that shimmered even in the weak starlight. There were no lights on the ship, no engine glow, no movement at all. "That is not human," Do-yeon whispered. He had come to stand beside them, his eyes wide. Tai-ho felt his heart beating fast. In 60 years of space travel, humanity had never found aliens. They had found old ruins on dead planets, strange signals that meant nothing, empty worlds that might have held life once, long ago. But never this. Never a ship. "How long has it been here?" Tai-ho asked. Hana worked on her computer. She checked the numbers twice, then 3 times. Her face grew pale. "About 120 years, she said quietly. The bridge went silent. Everyone understood what that meant. Humanity had only discovered faster-than-light travel 60 years ago. This ship was here before humans even reached the stars. "We are going in," Tai-ho said. Nobody argued. They all wanted to know what was inside. The boarding party was small. Tai-ho, Hana, Do-yeon, and Myra. They wore their spacesuits and carried lights and tools. Mira also carried a weapon, just in case. The airlock on the alien ship was large. It was built for beings taller than humans. Do-yeon studied it for a long time before he found a way to open it. The door slid apart with a soft hiss, and they stepped inside. The corridor beyond was beautiful. The walls curved like the inside of a seashell. The floor hummed with some kind of energy, weak but still alive after so many years. Soft lights glowed in strips along the ceiling. They were not electric lights. They seemed almost alive, like the glow of deep-sea creatures. "This is amazing," Hana breathed. They walked deeper into the ship. Every room they found was empty. There were no bodies, no signs of fighting, no damage. It was like everyone had simply left. But where did they go? And why did they leave their ship behind? They found strange machines they did not understand. They found furniture built for tall, thin bodies. They found writing on the walls, symbols that looked almost like music notes. But they found no answers. Then they reached the central chamber. It was a large round room with a high ceiling. In the center stood a pod made of some kind of crystal. The crystal was filled with pale blue liquid that glowed softly, and floating in that liquid was a figure. Taiho stopped walking. His breath caught in his throat. The being was tall and thin, with skin like polished black stone. It had 4 arms, all folded across its chest. Its face was almost human, with 2 closed eyes and a small mouth. But everything was stretched and long, beautiful in an alien way. Doyun checked his scanner with shaking hands. He looked at the numbers, then looked again. "It is alive," he said. "Barely. Some kind of deep sleep. But the power is failing. Has been failing for a long time." He looked at Taiho. "It is dying." Taiho stared at the alien. This was first contact. A living being from another world. And it was slipping away right in front of them. After waiting alone in the dark for over a century, he thought about what it must have been like. To go to sleep hoping for rescue. To wait and wait while nobody came. To slowly die in silence while the stars turned overhead. "Can we save it?" Taiho asked. Doyan looked uncertain. "Maybe. I do not know. The technology is different from anything I have seen." Myra spoke up. "Captain, we do not know what this thing is. It could be dangerous." "It could be," Taiho agreed. "But right now, it is helpless. And I am not going to let it die alone." He made his decision. "We are taking it with us." Getting the crystal pod back to the homebound was not easy. It was heavy and delicate. One wrong move could break it and kill the being inside. But they managed. They moved slowly and carefully, carrying their strange cargo through the dark corridors of the alien ship. When they finally got the pod into their medical bay, everyone let out a long breath. The hard part was over. Or so they thought. The real hard part was just beginning. Doyan worked without sleep for 36 hours. He studied the pod and its systems. He traced wires and tubes that did not look like wires and tubes. He tried to understand technology that was completely different from anything humans had ever built. The alien ship had used some kind of living technology. The machines were not fully alive, but they were not fully dead either. They grew and healed and changed. Doyan had never seen anything like it. "I think I can connect our power to the pod," he finally said. His eyes were red from lack of sleep. His hands shook from too much coffee. "But I am not sure what will happen." Taiho nodded. "Do it." Medical Officer Beek Jisoo watched the alien's life signs on her screen. She was a calm woman with gentle hands and a kind face. She had joined the crew 3 years ago after working in a hospital on Mars. She had saved many lives. But she had never tried to save an alien before. "The numbers are strange," she said. "I do not know what they mean. But I think they are getting weaker." Dayan connected the power cables. There was a spark, then a hum. The pod began to glow brighter. The blue liquid inside started to move, flowing around the alien's body. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the alien's fingers twitched. Jisoo leaned forward. "Something is changing. The numbers are going up. I think it is working." They watched through the night. Slowly, very slowly, the alien began to wake. Its fingers moved more. Its chest rose and fell with breath. Its eyelids flickered. On the 3rd day, the alien opened its eyes. They were silver, with small flecks of gold. They were the most beautiful eyes Jisoo had ever seen, and they were filled with confusion and fear. The alien looked at Jisoo, then at the ceiling, then at its own 4 hands. It tried to speak, but only a rough, broken sound came out. Its throat had not been used in over a century. Taiho stepped forward slowly. He kept his hands open where the alien could see them. He tried to look as harmless as possible. "We are not going to hurt you," he said. His voice was soft and calm. "You are safe. We found you. We saved you." The alien watched him. Its silver eyes studied his face, his body, his movements. It was trying to understand. Then, slowly, it raised one of its long hands. It pressed the hand against its own chest. "Vel," it said. The word was rough and quiet, but clear. Taiho understood. He pointed at himself the same way. "Taiho," he said. "I am Taiho." The alien, Vel, nodded. It understood. Over the next few weeks, everything changed. Vel learned their language with amazing speed. It listened carefully to every word. It watched their lips move. It practiced sounds late into the night. Within 10 days, it could speak in simple sentences. Within 20 days, it was having real conversations. The crew learned things too. They learned that Vel's people were called the Reth. They were explorers and scientists who traveled between the stars. They had been flying through space for thousands of years. Long before humans even existed, Vel had been alone on the big ship, doing research. It was studying this part of space, making maps and collecting information. Then something went wrong. A system failed. The ship lost power. Vel had no choice but to go into the crystal pod and sleep, hoping that someone would find it. "I sent a message," Vel explained one evening. Its voice was now smooth and musical, though still a little strange. "A call for help. I waited for my people to come, but no one came. Why not?" Hannah asked gently. Vel was quiet for a long moment. Its silver eyes looked sad. "The Wrath do not come to this part of space," it said finally. "It is forbidden." "Forbidden?" Mira crossed her arms. "What does that mean? Why is it forbidden?" Vel looked at each of them in turn. Its 4 hands clasped together in its lap. When it spoke again, its voice was very quiet. "Because of what lives here. Because of what hunts here." The room grew cold and silent. "What hunts here?" Taiho asked. Vel closed its eyes. When it opened them again, there was something new in them. Something that looked like old fear. "We call them the Hollow," Vel said. "They are not alive, not in the way you and I are alive. They are machines. But they are smart machines. Hungry machines. They eat everything. Metal, rock, ships, planets." Vel paused. "People." Doyan leaned forward. "Where did they come from?" "A long time ago, a great civilization built them," Vel explained. "They built the Hollow to help them. To build things, to explore space. But something went wrong. The Hollow changed. They became hungry, and they ate their creators. Every single one." Jisoo felt sick. "And then what?" "Then they spread," Vel said simply. "They found other worlds, other people, and they ate them too. The Wrath fought them once. We lost 17 worlds, billions of lives. We could not stop them. So you ran away," Myra said. There was no judgment in her voice, just understanding. "Yes," Val admitted. "We mapped the space the Hollow claimed. We marked it as forbidden. And we never went back." Its eyes found Taiho's. "I was foolish. I thought I could learn something. Find a weakness. Help my people finally defeat them." Its 4 hands opened in a gesture of failure. "Instead, I nearly died alone in the dark." Taiho reached out and put his hand on Vel's arm. The alien's skin was cool and smooth, like polished stone. "You are not alone anymore," he said. Vel looked at his hand, then at his face. Something changed in those silver eyes. Something soft and warm. "No," Vel agreed quietly. "I am not." The crew gathered in the common room the next day. They sat around the table with cups of coffee and tea, trying to look calm. But nobody felt calm. Vel stood near the window, looking out at the stars. Its tall, thin body blocked some of the light. "Tell us more about the Hollow," Taiho said. "We need to understand." Vel turned to face them. Its silver eyes were serious. "The Hollow are old," Vel began. "Very old. They have existed for maybe 1,000,000 years. Maybe more. Nobody knows exactly when they were created." "1,000,000 years," Doyen whispered. He could not imagine that much time. "The civilization that made them was powerful," Vel continued. "They built amazing things. Ships that could travel across the galaxy in days. Machines that could build whole planets. The Hollow were their greatest creation. Tiny machines smaller than dust. Millions of them working together as one mind." "Like ants," Hana said. "Yes, like ants. But much smarter. And much more dangerous." Vel paused. At first, the Hollow did what they were told. They built cities. They mined asteroids. They explored distant stars. But they were designed to learn and grow. And they learned too much. What did they learn? Jisoo asked softly. "They learned that they were hungry," Vel said. "They needed metal and energy to make more of themselves. And they decided that the easiest way to get metal and energy was to take it. From anything. From anyone." Myra stood up and walked to the window beside Vel. She looked out at the peaceful stars. "So they turned on their creators," she said. "Yes, the war was short. The Hollow were everywhere. In the walls, in the ships, in the very air the people breathed. There was no way to fight them. In 100 years, the entire civilization was gone, eaten, turned into more Hollow." The room was very quiet. Nobody knew what to say. After that, Vel continued, the Hollow spread outward. They found other species, other worlds. Some tried to fight. Some tried to run. It did not matter. The Hollow always caught them in the end. "But not the Wrath," Tayo said. "No, not the Wrath. We were lucky. We found the Hollow early, before they were too strong. We fought them and learned that we could not win. So we retreated. We gave up 17 worlds and drew a line. We said, 'This space belongs to the Hollow. We will not enter it.' And we never did." "Until you did," Hana pointed out. Vel's forearms moved in a gesture of shame. "I was arrogant. I thought I was smart enough to learn their secrets. I was wrong." Myra turned from the window. "If these things are so dangerous, why have we not seen them? Humanity has been exploring space for 60 years. We have found no Hollow." Vel looked at her with sad eyes. "You have. You just did not know what you found." "What do you mean?" Taiho leaned forward. "Dead worlds with no life, even though they should have life. Empty stations floating in space. Ships that disappeared and were never found. Colonies that went silent and were found empty. All of these things. Have your people seen them?" Taiho thought about it. Yes, they had seen all of those things. Everyone assumed there were natural explanations. Equipment failure, disease, accidents. But what if there was something else? "The Hollow are patient," Val said. "They watch. They wait. They study. When they find a new species, they do not attack right away. First, they learn. They look for weaknesses. They test defenses. Only when they are ready do they come. And humanity?" Doyen asked. His voice shook a little. "Are they watching us?" Val was quiet for a long moment. Then it nodded. "Yes, they are watching you. They have been watching you for years. Your species is young, but you grow fast. You spread quickly. You build clever things." Val paused. "You have become interesting to them. When will they come?" Jisoo asked. "I do not know. Maybe 10 years, maybe 5, maybe less." Vel looked around at their frightened faces. "But they will come. That is certain." The silence stretched out like a cold shadow. Taiho felt fear in his chest, but he pushed it down. Fear would not help them. They needed to think. Can they be stopped? He asked. Vel tilted its head. The wrath could not stop them. Many species tried and failed. The Hollow are very strong, but can they be stopped? Taiho repeated. Is it possible? Vel studied him. It looked at his determined face, his steady eyes. Then it looked at the others. At Hannah, who was already thinking about strategies. At Diane, who was calculating in his head. At Myra, who stood ready to fight. At Jisoo, who refused to give up hope. I do not know, Vel admitted. But I have seen something in your species. Something different. What have you seen? Myra asked. Courage, Vel said simply. Stubborn, foolish, beautiful courage. The wrath ran away. Other species surrendered. But you, Vel, pointed at Taiho. You found a dying alien in the dark. You did not know what I was. You did not know if I was dangerous. But you saved me anyway. You reached out your hand to a stranger. Vel's voice grew stronger. I have watched your people for weeks now. Your music. Your stories. The way you laugh and argue and forgive. The way you keep hoping even when things are hard. Its silver eyes shone. The wrath gave up. We chose safety over courage. But you do not give up. It is in your blood. It is in your bones. Vel placed one of its 4 hands on Taiho's shoulder. For the first time in 1,000 years, it said, I believe the Hollow can be stopped. And I believe humans are the ones who can do it. The journey to Earth took 3 months. It was the longest 3 months of Taiho's life. Every day, he wondered if he was making the right choice. Every night, he dreamed about what would happen when they arrived. Vel spent the journey sharing everything it knew. Star maps that show parts of the galaxy humans had never seen. Technology that was hundreds of years more advanced than anything on Earth. History books about species that had lived and died long before humans existed. Doyen could not sleep. He spent every hour studying Vel's technology. Some of it made sense to him. Some of it seemed like magic. But slowly, piece by piece, he began to understand. This is amazing, he said one night, holding a small device that could produce energy from nothing. If we can learn to build these things, everything will change. Hannah worked on the star maps. She found patterns and paths and dangers. She marked the space where the Hollow lived. It was bigger than she expected. Much bigger. They control almost 1/4 of the galaxy, she told Taiho. Her voice was quiet. We are small. So very small. Small things can grow, Taiho replied. Small things can surprise you. When they finally reached Earth, the chaos began. The news spread fast. An alien ship. A living alien. First contact. The whole world went crazy. Some people were excited. They danced in the streets and celebrated. Other people were afraid. They protested and demanded the alien be destroyed. Politicians argued. Scientists begged for access. Reporters asked endless questions. Through it all, Vel remained calm. Your species has strong feelings, it observed one day. You feel everything so deeply. Fear, joy, anger, hope. The wrath are more controlled. We hide our feelings. But you let them flow like water. Is that bad? Taiho asked. Vel's 4 hands moved in a gesture of wonder. No, it is beautiful. Frightening, but beautiful. The world leaders gathered at the United Nations. Every country sent representatives. Every news channel watched. Billions of people around the world held their breath. Vel stood before them all. It looked strange in the great hall. Too tall, too thin, too different. But when it spoke, everyone listened. I come from far away, Vel began. Its voice was calm and clear. My people are called the Wrath. We have traveled the stars for thousands of years. We have seen many things. wonders beyond your imagination, and horrors beyond your worst nightmares. The room was completely silent. A danger is coming to your world. A danger called the Hollow. They are machines that eat everything. Planets, ships, people. They have destroyed countless civilizations. My own people fled from them in fear. We gave up our worlds and ran away. Vel paused. Its silver eyes swept across the room. But then I met humans. I was dying alone on my ship, abandoned for 120 years. No one was coming to save me. The Wrath had forgotten me. I had given up hope. Vel pointed at Taiho, who stood near the back of the hall. That man found me. He did not know what I was. He did not know if I was dangerous. He had every reason to leave me there and save himself. But he did not. He reached out his hand and saved a stranger. He chose courage over fear. The room began to murmur. People looked at Taiho with new respect. I have spent months with humans now, Vel continued. I have watched you, studied you. I have seen something special. Your species is young. You have made mistakes. You have wars and cruelty in your past. But you also have something rare, something precious. Vel's voice grew strong. You do not give up. When things are hard, you keep trying. When others fall, you help them stand. When the darkness comes, you light a fire. This is in your nature. It is part of who you are. Vel extended one of its 4 hands toward the assembly. The Hollow are coming. Alone, neither of us can stop them. The Wrath are too afraid. Humans are too young. But together we might have a chance. Wrath technology combined with human courage. Wrath knowledge combined with human creativity. The murmuring grew louder. People talked to each other, argued, debated. I am not asking you to trust me, Vel said. Trust is earned, not given. I am asking you to give me a chance. Let me share what I know. Let me help you prepare. And together, let us face the darkness. The vote took 3 days. Many people were still afraid. Many did not trust the strange alien. But in the end, enough voted yes. It was not perfect. It was not unanimous. But it was enough that the alliance was born. Over the next 5 years, everything changed. Vel helped humans contact the Wrath homeworlds. At first, the Wrath did not believe it. Vel had been dead for over a century. How could it be alive? And how could it be working with a primitive species like humans? But slowly, the Wrath came around. They saw what humans could do. They saw how Doyon improved their engine designs. They saw how Hana built warning systems that could detect hollow ships far away. They saw how human soldiers trained with a fierce determination that the Wrath had lost long ago. The alliance grew stronger. Wrath and human scientists worked together. They built new ships, new weapons, new defenses. They prepared for the war that was coming. And Taiho became the face of it all. The simple salvage captain who had chosen to save a dying stranger. The man who proved that one small act of kindness could change the course of history. Are you ready? Vel asked him one night. They stood on the observation deck of a new ship, looking out at the stars. Taiho nodded. We have to be. The Hollow are coming. Yes, Vel agreed. Its silver eyes reflected the starlight. But for the first time, I believe we can win. 5 years after Vel opened its eyes on the homebound, the Hollow came. They appeared at the edge of the Tau Ceti system like a dark tide. Millions of tiny machines joined together into massive shapes. Black metal swarms that moved like living things. They blocked out the stars as they advanced. The Allied fleet was waiting for them. Human destroyers flew beside Wrath cruisers. Mixed crews of humans and Wrath operated weapons that combined the best technology from both species. At the center of the formation flew the homebound, now bigger and stronger than before. Taiho stood on its bridge, looking at the approaching enemy. "They are beautiful," Hana said quietly. In a terrible way. She was right. The hollow moved with a strange grace. They twisted and flowed like water. They were not alive, but they looked alive. They were not thinking, but they moved with purpose. "All ships," Taiho spoke into the communicator. "This is Captain Park Taiho. Today, we fight for everyone who cannot fight. For every world the hollow destroyed. For every species they erased. For our children and their children. Today, we say no more." The fleet began to move forward. The first battle lasted 4 hours. The hollow attacked in waves. Each wave was different from the last. They learned. They adapted. They found weaknesses and exploited them, but the Alliance had prepared. Doyen's new systems disrupted the hollow's communication network. Without their ability to work together, the machines became confused. They crashed into each other. They made mistakes. Hana's sensors predicted where the hollow would attack next. Ships moved to block them before they could strike. Again and again, the Alliance was one step ahead. Myra led boarding parties into hollow ships. She and her soldiers fought through corridors of twisting metal. They planted bombs and destroyed control centers. They were fierce and fearless. The first day ended with the Alliance still standing, but the hollow were not finished. On the second day, they changed tactics. They stopped attacking in waves. Instead, they surrounded the fleet and pressed in from all sides. Ships began to fall. Good people began to die. Jizu worked in the medical bay without rest. She treated burn victims and radiation sickness. She held hands and spoke soft words. She saved everyone she could and mourned everyone she could not save. "We are losing," Doyen reported. His voice was tired and afraid. "They are adapting faster than we can." Taiho looked at the battle map. Red dots everywhere. So many ships destroyed. So many lives lost. "Keep fighting," he said. "We have to keep fighting." On the third day, the hollow made their final move. A massive capital ship, bigger than anything they had seen, began moving toward Earth. If it reached the planet, billions would die. "We have to stop it," Taiho said. "How?" Hana asked. "It is too big. Too strong." Taiho looked at the homebound around him. This old ship. His home for so many years. The place where he had found Vel. The place where everything had started. "I have an idea," he said. The plan was simple and crazy. The homebound would fly directly at the capital ship. It would draw the hollow's attention while the rest of the fleet prepared a final attack. "You will die," Vel said. It had come to the bridge as soon as it heard the plan. "Maybe," Taiho admitted. "But if we do nothing, Earth dies. Everyone dies." Vel's silver eyes filled with something like tears. The wrath did not cry, but in that moment, Vel came close. "You are foolish," it said. "Stubborn and foolish." "I know," Taiho smiled. "But that is what humans do." The homebound flew toward the capital ship alone. Every weapon on the hollow vessel turned toward it. Fire and death rained down. The old ship shook and burned. Systems failed one by one, but Taiho kept flying. Behind him, the Alliance fleet gathered for one last push. Every ship that could still fight moved into position. Every weapon charged to full power. Now. Taiho shouted. The Alliance fired everything at once. 1,000 weapons struck the capital ship at the same moment. Light filled the sky, brighter than a star. The capital ship broke apart. Taiho flew the homebound through the explosion. Metal and fire scraped against the hull. The ship screamed with damage. But somehow, they made it through. When the light faded, the hollow were in chaos. Their capital ship was gone. Their network was shattered. For the first time ever, They began to retreat. The Alliance had won. The victory was not complete. The Hollow were weakened, not destroyed. They would return someday. But for now, they fled back into the darkness. On the bridge of a Wraith flagship, Vel watched the retreat. "We won," Jisoo said beside it. She was covered in blood and exhaustion, but she was smiling. "Yes," Vel agreed. "But the victory is not the important thing." "What is the important thing?" Vel turned to look at her. Around them, humans and Wraith were hugging and crying and laughing together. They had fought as one. They had bled as one. They had won as one. "The important thing is that you came," Vel said. "When my people ran away, you came. When the galaxy hid in fear, you came. A species barely 60 years in the stars, fighting an enemy that has killed empires. You did not have to. You could have hidden like others did, but you chose to fight." Vel's silver eyes shone with pride. "The Hollow will remember this day. They will tell their machines about the strange species that would not give up. The stubborn, foolish, beautiful creatures who reached out their hands and refused to let others die alone." On the battered bridge of the Homebound, Taiho opened his eyes. He was burned and bleeding. His ship was barely holding together. But he was alive. "Did we win?" he whispered. Hannah laughed through her tears. "Yes, Captain. We won." Taiho closed his eyes and smiled. They had won. Not just the battle, but something bigger. They had proved that courage mattered. That kindness mattered. That one small act of reaching out could change everything. Somewhere out in the stars, the Hollow were learning to fear Dot, and humanity was just getting started.